Ready for us to start? All right, the Historical Preservation Board for Clay County is now called to order. And I will entertain approval of minutes.
I have a correction.
Okay,
On the minutes, it refers to Emily Jones. Her name is Emily Jane. She's with FPAN.
Did we get her last name Murray?
It was not on there,
No,
but it's
okay.
Emily Jane Murray. But on there, it just says Emily Jones.
I had a question on it. One of the things in the minutes said that I think you were thanking her for the training, and it was in there saying that these are monthly trainings. And I've never gotten another since I've been on. Is that an error, or is it actually true that it's?
Monthly trainings with the state.
Whatever our one was that we watched last time, it's like right after that in the minutes, it said that these were things that we got monthly. Is that true?
They, somewhat monthly, yes.
Okay, and how do you announce that? This is just for my information.
I announce it through an email. I share the link with you.
The ones in Outlook then.
Yes, through email.
okay. Any other corrections or additions or subtractions? Not, then I'll entertain a motion for the minutes approval as corrected.
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstention. How about abstention?
Or if you want to abstain.
I want to, yeah, because I'm having difficulty accessing the full minutes, and therefore, there were a couple of things that were kind of questionable, but I'm not ready to make an issue of it. But, I can't really say, that I think it was all great. So
Okay.
I'll just say nothing. But, the majority carries. It's all right.
Okay. So carried. Okay. Public comment. Seeing nobody in the audience, we'll carry on to old business. And we have cemetery update, so I'll send it to our resident experts.
Okay, so what do we got going here? All right, as far as Sauter Cemetery, there is another cleanup that's being done by Keep Clay Beautiful that's going to include Sauter Cemetery on April the 18th from 8:30 to noon. We did have one that was done, in February, I guess, and that was great. We were over there, and it looks like we've got some branches and stuff down from the storm. So Jason says he's already got volunteers set up, so that's awesome. They'll come and get that all picked up. Doesn't look like there was any damage to the stones or anything there. We did have a CSA veteran stone that was installed on March 20th for James Cornelius West. And so the Sons of the Confederate Veterans helped us get that, and they came and put it in. It looks absolutely beautiful. We're also, there might be another one submission for a marker for James Keene. Rick is going to look into that again and see if we can't get that. We've got everything except for his obit doesn't say he's buried there, but written records from family members says he's buried there, and we've got military records and everything else. So we're hoping that they will accept that, and we can get a stone for him because he has nothing. There's several unmarked graves in Sauter Cemetery. We were using dowsing rods, and we've located several, and we're in the process of identifying or possibly identify. We've got a list of people that we know are buried in there. We'll never be able to know if that's who's in that spot, but we'll kind of know it's one of those family members that we're missing. And we're going to try and put metal markers to preserve their memory. We've done that with some of the other ones that are there. We do have some funds available, but this is all based on the funds we have available from donations or if users want to sponsor a marker. They're like $20 a piece. Not a big deal, but I've reached out and put the word out about that. There also was a story, written story over the years that says there was the daughter of the McMullins that was buried in the cemetery, but we never could figure out who they were and which daughter was buried in there. So I've done some research, and I think I've identified who it is. It was a young woman by the name of Julia McMullen, who lived in Clay County, and her parents were farmers next to other people that were in that area. She died in 1913 at the age of 22. So we believe we've identified who that mystery person is, which is kind of cool. We also been still doing work at McHenry Cemetery. We were out there on, the 23rd. We did have a tree come down in the corner of the cemetery from that storm. That was a heck of a storm. Thank goodness it did not damage any of the stones. We were able to remove most of the debris from the tree except for the trunk because we didn't have our chainsaw with us. But I did have 3 volunteers that came out on the 23rd and helped us with cleanup and cleaning some stones and stuff. Our next tentative work day is going to be April the 12th from 9 to noon. And we'll be going out there doing some more repairs and cleanup as well. I have not gotten any updates as far as the missing DAR marker for Lewis Wilford at Old Hickory Grove. I did reach out to a lady that is with the local DAR to ask her if they would be interested in replacing that. He does have a stone, but the DAR marker that says he's a Revolutionary War veteran has been gone for some time. So we're hoping we can get that replaced. That's all I have.
All right, mine should be pretty quick. We got Peter Walker's headstone. He was a Civil War veteran, and we'll have it in place pretty soon. And we had a huge tree come down, but it's firewood now, so that's settled. And Henry Bennett is our last, and that's our World War I veteran we want to get a stone for, and I may have found one of his nieces that can sign off for that. Other than that, I was going to mention that grave you were looking for, the unmarked one out by 220 on the Reinhold land. Did you follow up on that? Did we already mention this here, or? Okay, it's just, they had homicide detectives go up and dig up
It
somebody's
was a pet grave.
somebody's dog, and I told the lady, my last email to her was that it's probably somebody's beloved pet that's out
That's
there.
what I told her too.
But she bothered Kathy, and Kathy exhausted her, and then I didn't know, it was the same thing at first, then she came to me about it. So, and she had the news crews out there, I guess, and everything.
She was walking down a trail with her dogs and saw a wooden cross and what appeared to be a burial. And so she wanted to check it out. So I went over there and I said, yes, there is something buried here. It's probably a pet, but it was a fairly good size burial. And I said, my recommendation is if you have any concerns to call law enforcement, which she did after she called Channel 4 News. So.
Was the dog an affiliate of some particular religion, or?
We're still waiting on the autopsy returns from that one. All right, so that's all for my end.
Okay.
I guess on the good point of that is that, we tell people because Lake County has got a lot of places that used to be old homesteads or whatever, that it could be that there are burials out there that used to be on family-owned property that's not an actual cemetery. So we try and encourage people, if you find something and that you think might be a burial, to at least let us investigate.
Every now and then, we will get a call by someone who asks if they could be buried on their own property. And we have to tell them that there is an official process to do it. And, we would encourage them to zone that part of the property just so it's, commemorated as cemetery.
Yeah.
I have a question. Did you say dowsing rods or divining rods?
Yes, they're
Which-
the same thing, divining rods and dowsing rods.
I thought dowsing rods were like when you take a forked stick and wait for it to point down.
Yeah.
It's similar to it. They're copper rods that are used to find disturbances in the ground. Some people say that people have used them to find water.
Okay,
It
so
doesn't
it
actually
is,
find
it is.
water, but
yeah.
it finds disturbances in the soil. So it also works with finding burials.
Curious though, if you do, okay, it's pointing down, you think there's something there. Do you dig down to find out what it is? Are you doing that? I mean, what's,
We do not do any digging, and the only time I've used them is in cemeteries where we know there are burials, and just trying to determine, because we know that there's unmarked graves in there, trying to find out where there are graves. I'm not gonna be digging in the ground.
just,
Yeah.
I was just clarifying it because
Well, that's what I
you
told this
never know.
lady. I said, I can tell you there's something buried here, but I'm not gonna be digging, so.
Any updates on the Catholic cemeteries that you were discussing last meeting? You had talked to someone who was going to identify some,
Yeah, you had said that you would follow up. Right when I had asked them for the specific information, you said you'd follow up on that.
What
But-
Catholic cemetery
The
though?
one that they had brought up, and that's why, I had texted you and you were on vacation. That's when Emily was out. I thought maybe you would have a chance to talk to her, but you were out of town.
I'm sorry, I don't recall what one that was.
Maybe this was the same discussion or whatever, but I think you said at least you had initial contact with the Catholic Diocese of St. Augustine, right?
I did, yes.
Who did you because I can try to follow up and see, because I'm curious about it.
So I called the Catholic Church that is here in Clay County and had them investigate, because I was told that there used to be a cemetery by the old Catholic Church in Green Cove, which is in Green Cove proper. It's in the historic part. But they said they have absolutely no record. That church is 150 years old. They have no record that there ever was a burial there. I don't know why was on the GIS. There's
I
no
thought we were
records of
talking
it at
about
all.
the one in Middleburg.
The other one in Middleburg,
Yeah.
we do know that it was there. There is a historical marker there by the Black Creek Methodist Church that mentions it. Plus, I do have documentation from that talks about the history of that Catholic parish. It was very small,
Yeah.
and it's been gone for over 100 years. There's no remnants left of it.
Not that long, no. 1920s at the earliest, yeah. Well, I guess it is 100.
Yeah.
Time goes by, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but I spoke to a then living person, one of the last of the sound-minded Frisbees, who told me, that he was a young person when the tombstones disappeared almost overnight, but nobody knew what they'd done with them.
Yeah,
So-
nobody knows. I had heard that too from them, and supposedly where it was is now private property. It's been, there's a house built on it.
Sure,
There's all
there's a
this
new
other stuff.
house on it.
Yeah.
More, new for Middleburg, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, well, I'll try to get hold of the Archdiocese and see if I can find out anything. I already went to Alabama, which used to have jurisdiction over everything on the west side of the St. John's, but I had no luck with them. They couldn't find anything.
All right, we'll go on to new business and the nominating committee for officers, and I'll let Beth speak to this?
So by code, the code calls for a nominating committee to be formed no later than April meeting and shall propose a slate no later than the May meeting to determine candidates for chair, vice chair. We no longer need a secretary because the clerk of court does our minutes, so we don't need that position. I would leave it up to you. Obviously, this is what the code says. You can choose to select a nominating committee, or if you would, as a board, like to. The next, the nominations received on the floor of the June meeting is when you would be electing. So if you want to,
Didn't we already just do this?
We have to do this every year.
you do it every year.
I know, but it doesn't seem like it was a year ago.
It,
I thought it was earlier.
it's been a year.
The process takes a while. So April is the nominating committee. May is the month for formalizing which committee, who would be considered. June is when you vote on it, and then we don't meet in July, so August is when they take place. So it's a very long process for,
Okay.
it's what was established, so I will leave it up to you to decide how you want to do this.
So do we want to just do nominations from the floor, or do y'all want to do a committee?
I'm all for just doing it from the floor.
Fine with me. Is that an option though? Because it calls for a committee to be formed.
Yeah.
Beth said we could.
If you want to form a committee, you can form a committee. If you want
Oh,
to,
don't we have to form a committee?
feel free to.
The question is, do we have to?
It's not been done ever. You've been on the board. Has there been a committee formed ever?
We used to do that back in the old days when we met at the old courthouse and so forth, and we weren't so closely managed, but I think we've been, the last year or two, did we? Because I've been away.
I think a committee would be good, because I haven't been on one myself, but
Yep.
a lot of times just talking to someone, you call the different people and say, are you interested? Versus having somebody pop up on the floor, and then maybe you come in with a slate of people. I know there's hardly any of us, but,
Oh.
You need to speak up.
Speak in the microphone. Why can't I move the microphone to me instead of?
Because it's,
All right.
that is in place.
I wasn't saying anything. Oh, committees, yes. Yes, well, I'd be in favor of forming a committee, and I'd be willing to be a member of that committee. I don't think I could be a candidate because I think my term is expiring in July or something of next year, but that's all the better, A member of the committee should have clean hands and so forth, right?
Okay, so you and Barbara want to be on the
I can
committee?
be, yeah.
Steve, anybody else wants to join the committee?
I'll join.
Good,
All right,
okay.
we have three.
Now, somebody who has good penmanship should be taking minutes, right? Of this, or not?
One of you, yes, will have to take the minutes for your committee.
Yeah, because we don't want to
So
have
I-
And if-
underhanded things going on.
And if you're going to meet outside of here, I will need to know when you will be available to meet, and I'll have to set up that meeting, and we'll have to.
Aha,
Notice it.
okay. all right.
So I will leave it to you three to decide and get with Beth on the subcommittee meeting.
Well, maybe we should try to preliminarily figure out with Beth, what's available, because we're not supposed to talk to each other in between meetings. Unless we're in a subcommittee
Right.
like this.
If
Right,
you
we
give me an
can't-
idea when, and then I'll look for a place where you all can meet.
Good, okay.
And by virtue of the fact that they're on the committee, they will not be able to be nominated for the positions, correct?
I don't think so. The other meetings, the other groups, outside independent ones, they sometimes do themselves, but
Okay,
usually we
know
will
the
probably need phone numbers or something so that we can talk to people. like, are you interested? What about this? You know, have you ever done this before? Whatever.
Well, I know I'm term limited on it, so I can't do it again, so.
What?
Okay.
I'm term limited. You can only serve 2 consecutive terms as chairman before
Oh, time
you have
flies,
to
so, okay,
rotate out, so.
rotate. Okay, that's too bad.
So, anyway, all right. That is
So how will we contact to talk to people? In a group, I guess. We all meet and then we'll call people and talk to them. Is that possible? To
Yes,
share
I
that
guess.
phone numbers?
Yes, I mean, it would probably be in the context of your interest. I mean, I don't know how much, you obviously can't be talking about business of the board. So it needs to be, what are your interests? What's your background? I don't know what you're gonna be asking as far as this. Can you give me some idea of availability when you would like to meet?
Yeah, that's tough. I didn't bring a calendar with me, so, yeah. So, yeah, so
Okay, if you want to email me next week, just give me a rough idea, like Thursday afternoons or,
Oh,
you know,
good, good.
whatever, because I'll have to look for a place for y'all to meet.
Good, good, good. All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Unless you'd be willing to come here to this building. I mean, typically it's either the library, one of the libraries, or, you know, we could
Yeah,
maybe
I'd-
find a room here.
I'd
but-
be willing to come to this building.
Yeah, that's fine
Plus
with me.
it's just down the road, so, for me, yeah.
Okay, if you'll email me next week and let me know roughly your schedules, you know, when you'd be available, I'll set that up.
Okay.
All right. The next on the list is historical marker honoring Miss Jackson.
I was contacted by Merle Shema, researcher with the Florida Women's Historical Marker Initiative down in South Florida in Miami. And they have an initiative to erect markers in each one of the counties representing a woman in history that has significant impact in the world here. And so they have chosen Maud Jackson for Clay County. And this is being brought to your attention, just, you know, I think I've mentioned it before, but I wanted to present the text that they're proposing. And this will be going to the Board of County Commissioners for their approval of the use of the county site for this marker, since it's not a county proposed marker. So that's
So
it
this,
for your
this
report.
motion is under state sanction? They're allowed to do it?
Anyone can do a marker, yes.
Well, anyone can do a marker, but I've never heard of a living individual being the subject of a state marker.
That was something the state did have a concern with, because typically it is someone that has passed, but it can be approached from the standpoint of an event that occurred, you know, 30 years ago or 50 years ago. So that will be something that will have to be resolved. We're not approving the marker text. That will all go through the state. This is a separate entity that's doing this. And so we can review the text if you have any objections to what is here.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna send us the text to stare at for a while?
It was part of the agenda. I can
Oh,
pass
good.
down my copy if you would like.
I mean,
Does anyone else need copies? Okay.
I read it, but I don't remember that.
oh, you did? Okay.
No, I mean, I read.
She's not as old as I thought she was. All right.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you said you did.
I thought I saw the meeting, but I don't remember this one.
So we
in it.
wouldn't be involved in approving the text or anything, just signing off on the location.
I mean, if you had something that you saw that was objectionable in the text, it's probably very similar to what's been written already regarding the school and her work in that. So, but they do their own research. They provide it to the state. They just have asked if the county would allow it to go on their site. And so the proposed site would be the fire station where the original school was. That was a site that we thought about.
It's interesting that, to me anyway, that it seems to make no mention of the famous episode where she helped take care of Dr. King when he started this big demonstration in St. Augustine. That was a headline grabber at the time, but it's not mentioned at all here, as far as I can see. But, you know, I have no problem with it. She's deserving of recognition. It's just I never heard that, you know, this kind
Do
of.
you have any news articles or anything that you can think of that would document that event?
Well, yes, I mean, I know Maud herself had lots of clippings. I've seen them, but it didn't occur to me to, maybe at the county museum, we've got some stuff on that.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
well, I'll make that suggestion that they
Yeah,
research
she
that
cooked for
topic.
him and everything, you know, so that he could carry on and that. But that was like a major thing, because that was a big milestone in the civil rights movement, because it was then not legal for him to stay at certain hotels and,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll bring that up and hopefully they can dig into it and maybe
that was a big deal.
amend their text.
Yeah.
Does Maud Jackson herself have the ability to review this before it? I just
So-
wondered.
So I gave them her son's contact information, and I know Merle has spoken with the son's wife. I would hope they would offer that opportunity.
Is there any action we need to take tonight as a board, or is just informational?
That was information.
What? So they can carry on without us, in other words,
Yes.
even though we're the county, Clay County is one of the counties that's supposed to do something for some worthy person, right?
I mean, if you'd like, I can ask them to present their final text back to you. This was probably a preliminary. If they've got a final text, I can have them.
Yeah,
Send
it's
it back.
rather, the whole thing's a little odd to me, but.
Well, I mean, it's no different than for the colored school. Another groups came in and.
Well, I didn't like that either, but there's nothing I can do about that, but.
I mean, but as far as I understand,
That's
the process from the state is anybody, any private citizen, if they have the information, could propose a marker. It doesn't have to come through a local historical board. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Well, it's just a little unusual in the
Well,
past, yeah.
that's because I think most of the time people look towards the local government to pay for it, because $3,000 is a lot of money to put
Oh, yeah,
something out.
so this will come from some other pocket?
Yeah, we're not paying for it.
Okay.
They'll be raising money and having the
Yeah.
private donor from the information packet I read online.
Well, yeah, that's very good. So, it would be nice if we could at least get some input into the final text, which should include something about that part of her career, which was probably one of the most interesting and publicly reported parts, yeah. 1942. I always thought she was in her 90s by now, but, yeah.
All right, move on. We have no certificates of approval. Still seeing nobody has shown up for public comments. We'll go on to staff comments.
I have no comments.
Okay. We will go ahead and go to board comments, and we will start down here with Barbara and work our way around.
Okay, maybe this is a touchy subject, maybe not. I was called to find out if I was gonna be here. And if we didn't have a quorum, Beth was going to cancel the meeting.
Right?
The problem with that, and I wrote a letter to her, and I'll pass the copies to you, is that we are not allowed to talk to each other regarding any of this business unless we're in this room. Right. So everyone knows if you don't have quorum, you can't vote on anything and have it be legit. However, this is our only opportunity for a whole month to discuss what's important to us. So it should never be canceled. For one thing, if the missing people showed up because they were gonna go to the board meeting tonight, we can't have our doors shut just because there's only 2 people here. So I do not believe, and I didn't see anything ever written down, that you cancel a meeting if you don't have quorum ahead of time. So I thought that was, should be stated, that that should not be allowed. If whoever thinks it should be allowed, I doubt that that happens with any other board. I know the Board of County Commissioners don't cancel it if there's some commissioners' meetings missing. So that to me was wrong, was intrusive. And I don't know if you've done it before, because I'm relatively new, but you don't cancel board meetings that are online, that they're gonna happen. Now, if you say you want to cancel it based on there's a hurricane coming or whatever, I mean, there could be major accidents on the road and nobody can come here. Other than that, no, I don't know if anyone agrees with me or not, but.
So
I
we
I do
have,
remember
also
that
have a-
this subject came up before when in the days when we were still meeting at the old courthouse. And Carolyn Morgan was our county representative, and I made the same point. I said, just because we don't have a quorum and can't vote on business doesn't mean we can't talk about what has come up and that it needs to be given some attention, because then it gets into the minutes and people could see it and so forth. So I do support that point, that not having a quorum should not per se be a reason not to meet. So, just so long as we all know we can't vote on anything. So,
Okay. You have anything else?
It was very difficult to, I wrote this issue to Beth, and I actually tried to find the other people. I found some based on what the members were. First person I tried to send it to was Jerry. I used a legitimate email address of his. It said not found. So apparently the only people we can send anything to from Outlook, at least, it's new to me. I've used computers almost my whole life with a computer. But to me, it's very awkward and/or restricted, so I'm not too sure. Did anyone get something that I sent to them? Because it's not by name in there. It's like, supposedly this went out to member 10 HPV, member 8 HPV, member 6 HPV, District 3 HPV, District 4 HPV.
So the way that that works, if you look at where it says the Preservation Board on the website, it will tell you who all the members are and what district and stuff they're with. So that way you can kind of match it up to what their email is.
Well, these were emails that were in Outlook, and they're the ones that I'm supposed to use going in. I am member 11 HPV, and I thought that was part of the being anonymous to the public or something, I'm not sure. But did anyone get an email from me last night?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah, because you copied all of us.
Right, well, I didn't know if it was all of you, because I couldn't tell who was who on there. But you're saying that's another way, but does it have my name and then my code name? What you were talking about, the site to go see who's on the board?
And when you're on the government page and you go under Preservation Board, it'll tell you all the board members and their names and what district or whatever they're under. So that way you can kind of figure out, because Sean had asked me for some information and I was able to find do his email just based on what his board, position was.
Okay, I'm also kind of concerned because I went in through another issue when you passed around this thing about her biography. I went in there and into the agenda, and just after saying that it was on there, I went back in, you download it, I read through it, briefly, of course. I didn't see it in there, so either, because they've got two, Agenda Online and Agenda PDF. So I don't know which one,
The online one is the one you're supposed to use. Because it will download the whole thing.
well, the
Versus
download
just-
did all of it too, but I didn't see that paragraph in there, in other words, so.
Yeah, it was in there under, if you would have gone under the, number 2, historical marker honoring Miss Jackson.
Okay, it was in that
There,
one?
there's 3 other links under there, and
Okay.
you have to click on each one.
Okay, I'll look for that.
I mean, that's the way I did it.
Okay.
So, I mean, when I was reading it this afternoon, so,
So if I see a link, I gotta do that, okay.
yeah.
I'll look for it next time.
All right, anything else? Jerry?
Oh, yeah, I just remark in passing that this difficulty, increasing difficulties of access to these systems, they're more and more complicated, and I think that might have something to do with why we almost never see anybody showing up here, because they probably have some difficulties too, the more elaborate we make the requirements to accessing information. So that's one thing. And it might even account for the fact that we have enthusiastic new members of this board who rapidly disappear without, more than a couple of meetings under their belt. So I would hope that the county could rethink how to simplify communications within this system of theirs.
Okay.
Just for the record, I'll say that. Okay, I heard recently from Tom Parham, who says he's finally clear to be doing more final research, hopefully, on the actual site of Fort Number 11. And he has some artifacts that he is thinking of donating, I think, to the county museum. But whether he's seen it, looked around that site further or not, as of press time tonight, I don't know. Now, I'm just a little curious, maybe Billy can tell me. As far as I can tell, both the Middleburg, no, I'm sorry, the Fort Heileman and Fort San Francisco de Pupo markers seem to have disappeared for the moment.
No, they were, the one at the bridge over there, it was there as of a month ago.
As of when?
A month ago. I checked it in February.
Okay, well, if it is, I guess it's not where it used to be, so. I go by there frequently. On the way to St. Augustine, I'm sorry, on the way to St. Augustine, so if it's there, that'd be great. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was temporarily removed because of all the, work that's going on the new interstate nearby, but I'd just like to make sure it isn't lost somewhere.
No, it was there because I checked it, like I said, earlier this year.
October,
Was it October?
time is flying.
Okay.
October 9th, you sent a message to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did see it back about that far in time, but I don't see it now.
That's what I was trying to see when I did it. I mean, I'll go by there next week and take a look at it.
Okay, good. And also the Fort Heileman marker used to be close to the turnoff for Main Street, which of course makes sense. But I haven't seen that lately either, so.
Is that the one there by the bank off of Blanding?
Well, it's off of Blanding, but I don't, the bank?
Yeah, there's a Wells Fargo, and it's like right next to the Wells Fargo. Is it that one?
No, it's the
I
one
don't
that
think so.
goes Main Street.
Yeah, there's an,
It kind of does the Y right across
yeah, there's an
from.
auto repair place. That's the
Yeah.
main feature.
Last time I saw it, it was real low. And it was like there was landscaping around it.
Yeah, the one I'm thinking of was real low and had landscaping around of it.
Yeah, and I did a double take because I'm like,
Well, maybe they've covered it with the landscaping,
Yeah.
because I go over there for docent work and so forth, and, well, I guess I'll follow up with you, or if you could
I'll check on that
tell
one as
Beth
well.
something, and she could tell us something. Good. Okay, there are other matters, but I think that's mainly it for me, so.
All right, next.
I have none.
During our last meeting, Beth had asked me to brainstorm some areas of recognition if we do a certificate, so we can honor people that have done work with history here in Clay County. So I submitted this to her. She asked me to come up with areas that we might give recognition in. The areas I came up with is researching, writing, and educating about Clay County history, identifying, recognizing, and evaluating historical sites in Clay County, preserving, restoring, and stewarding historical sites in Clay County. So I don't know if others want to give me input or how we might want to proceed from here, but that was my best shot at thinking this through the first time here.
Okay.
I just wondered if anybody had any comments on those, because if you don't, then I'll just pass these on to our communications team for their use in creating certificates.
So what sort of, I suppose there ought to be some sort of written write-up about it, whoever the proposed candidates are, right? Is there some,
Yeah, presumably, I would assume you all would be the ones that would choose a candidate for one of these certificates, and our communications team would then,
Okay.
create it, or they'll give me a format for a blank one, and then I can, fill in the name or whatever, and then you can present it.
so the question is there a prescribed minimum format for this kind of thing to suggest people for candidates?
I don't think we've established that. I think that would be up to
For
you.
a state marker, for example, there's certain things you check off, or,
Just to give a couple examples, like Richard Knopf, the former fire chief of Clay County, was so helpful with Pleasant Point and went out of his way. Also, God, I'm forgetting his Charlie Sohm, the landowner around Pleasant Point, who donated a lot of money and time to helping us. So I don't know, kind of what criteria we would be looking at, but that's a real world example of the type of people that I was thinking of that'd be nice to recognize.
And the communications team is interested in having some content, and so they would be happy to do, feature stories or articles or whatever, so they would carry that on.
is there a limit on the number of nominees that are allowed for this?
This is a process that you all are doing, so
Well, I mean,
We develop
I
it.
would think it would be something that would be kind of ongoing thing. Just like with Tom and Fort number 11, we could honor him with a certificate for all of his research and help. That would be one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying that if they could contribute a significant amount of time and effort towards a historical project, whether it be historical cemeteries or help researching where fort location is, it's all legwork that is done.
Yeah, well, I can see there are various slice and dice categories available. My question was, is there a limit on how many people we could nominate for their good work at any given time.
I don't know that this is so much of a nomination process as it is maybe just a recognizing. But again, this is not something that I've come up with, so I really want you all to decide what this is. I sort of thought it was along the lines of what the Board of County Commissioners does when they recognize
Yeah.
someone that's, done something, and they might have one or two at a meeting.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's
of
all.
course,
I mean,
Steve here and Kathy, are certainly deserving of a lot of praise for their work.
Well, I think maybe,
Hope we
and
recognize
please-
people outside of this board.
yeah, so like
And this would
Kathy
be a
had
way to interact more with the public too, which as you can see, we kind of need to do, I think, during the board meeting. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry too. Like Kathy had a Boy Scout that, obviously that news article as well, but I mean, that's an example of something where you might want to recognize someone in the community that's taking an interest and also help to grow more interest in historic preservation activities.
Yes.
Can we put this on for next month's meeting?
Sure.
While we have a chance to think about it, and write something up, and rather than immediately pass it on?
yeah. So we'll table that for the next meeting and have everybody come back with any ideas on how to move forward with that process. All right, anything else for the good of the order? If not, we're adjourned.